It always comes to this. Hello there guys, here to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I believe I would have just showed off the color on this chest piece here in the center. I've had more done on it since. I had 3 sessions last week. I had 2 back-to-back. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. I had been talking about doing more with these roses, the throat tattoo, neck tattoo, whatever. And just so happened that Terry had a cancellation one day, the whole full day, and he had a little bit of time the next day, so we broke it up. But we did about 5-ish hours on my neck, back to back, which is a new experience for me. I've never done back-to-back neck tattoos before. Overall, it was pretty unpleasant on the second day. We did a lot of similar areas, so I'll get into it. The first day we added all of these thorns in here, in and around my neck, and a couple more leaves. So there's some stuff in here that was added, and then all around here there was some thorns added in here. This again was a bit finicky. Goes up behind the ear here. More like challenging than it was painful to do. It was a bit of a awkward sit, and since we had to line it, do all the black and all the white, there's actually quite a bit more work in there than it looks like. Since you're not using negative space, the negative parts of the white on black tattoos and the black on black tattoos is white ink, obviously, and so you end up doing basically a full color tattoo in order to get that look. White on black, black on black, if you do it properly and not just some white lines. As I say all the time, the white lines don't really show up so well. The right way to do it is to line with black or line with white and then fill with the other. All of my work has been lined with black and then filled with white. So anyway, we did that the first day. I'll include clips of what we did the first day, but I also wanted to do the second pass on the white in all of my roses. It was particularly important to me that we got the one on the center because it was hiding a little more. Now these are fully peeled. I should say this is almost a week later. I had a really busy week. Even now I had a hard time finding a place to do this video. And the next video, I'll be doing these back to back today because I don't want to miss an update. I had thought about doing part of the video after the first day and part of the video after the second day, but it just wasn't time to get it done that way. Yeah. It was pretty unpleasant the second day. Anytime you're working in the same area 2 times in a row, and I've done this several times over my illustrious tattoo journey, or career, or whatever you want to call it, the tissue in that area is already pretty swollen and inflamed, so it makes it a little harder for the tattooer to begin with, and definitely more painful for the person getting tattooed. Now, I basically redid my entire neck in a 2-day span, and that's a lot of trauma. My neck is full of some pretty bad scar tissue to begin with, and for longtime viewers of this vlog series, you'll know that I never enjoy getting my neck and throat tattooed, ever. It's never pleasant. I never complain. I would never be one to whine about the pain of it, but I don't enjoy those sessions, and you'll never get a peep out of me. The tattooer will never know until after. I'm the strong silent type when it comes to that, but I don't enjoy it. I always feel I have this weird compulsion to swallow, and my throat gets dry, and for whatever reasons my sinuses run, so it's always pretty unpleasant. It's also not the most painful tattoo session ever, but it is one of the few places that I've ever asked for back teen. The third time I was getting my neck blacked out, we could still see the ring of an old tattoo that was in here. I'll include the picture. We could still see the halo of that tattoo. So Rick went to black it out again, Lee being the one that had done it the first 2 times. Rick was confident that he could get rid of it, And he did get that halo out of there for the most part, except for the scar tissue that you can't cover. But about 3 minutes into that session, I realized that that would be one of the most painful sessions I would ever have. I feel like my neck was still recovering from the second pass blackout, even though it had been quite a while. It felt like the underlying tissue, certainly nothing I could see. There was something there that was either bruised or still healing or something, because it was incredibly, incredibly painful. It felt almost like I was being cut open with a knife or something. It was really weird. I don't normally feel that strongly when I'm getting tattooed, but I should say, yeah, my neck has a lot of scar tissue in it. The first tattooer who did my neck roses, I don't know that she was very good at the art of tattooing. This is the thing that a lot of people don't understand when they see my old suit and they see how bright it was and how colorful it was. A lot of people assume that that was good tattoos or something, but that's not what that means. For example, I had one tattoo on my right thigh that looked great until you realize that all of the white highlights, when we went to cover that tattoo, it was like everywhere there was white highlights put in, it was like concrete skin. My skin was like concrete. You could even hear the needle change. You could hear it was almost like it was clanging up against the floor or something, or like a concrete road or something. It was really weird. Pavement or... Yeah, it was just a different texture. Some of my skin is really, really thick. My arms are full of scar tissue. Rick is not really looking forward to when we get into doing my arms. He is in some ways, because arms are easier to tattoo, they're easier to reach, and obviously for me they're not painful, but they're full of scar tissue from my first sleeves. A lot of the work that was done on my first sleeves was not done by the best caliber of artists, so... and that's not necessarily throwing shade, it is what it is. Neck is similarly like that, full of scar tissue. Anyway, the second pass of the white, all of this is peeled already, and as I've gone over here, and as I can prove, with multiple white on black tattoos to show off, once it peels, it doesn't really change. So if you don't have this white when it peels, it's not coming back. But if you have this white after it's peeling, it doesn't really change. Now, you can reference earlier videos of mine and you can see that the multiple passes do build up the brightness in the white. Everything over here has been done twice now, and it all has that same brightness. Now, if I wanted to make that even brighter, I could potentially go in a third time. I don't know that I will, not in the roses. We do plan, however, to hit the roses again, just in the high points. So as I've said in the earlier video when I was talking about doing this, we plan on doing another layer of white in certain spots just to increase contrast in certain parts of these, and then we'll have essentially 4 tones of black and white. So basically black and gray shading, because you'll have your 2-pass white, you'll have your dynamic black, Panthera black layer, that's the darker black, and then the high points in the 3rd pass white. Probably going to give that a few months to settle. But since we added these thorns in here, don't know if you can see, but one comes up all the way under my chin there and all around here to behind my ears. Those will have to be done again because they are going to be, and you can see that they are darker. They're going to need a second pass as well in order to be in keeping with everything else. I may get tattooed by Terry again this week. I'm not exactly sure. If we do end up doing anything this week, we'll be redoing this palm because we need to touch it up. As I said, the one pass I've showed off before isn't perfect, but it's pretty close for a first shot. On that note, my other palm is finally peeled this week, and it almost is perfect. So this looks almost the same as it did fresh. So basically, and that's all solid in there, that's already peeled. Basically, Terry is able to dot pack a palm, so there's no reason why we can't do it on this side. And then from there, you can probably imagine that within the year, I'm going to have fully dotted, fully shaded palms. I don't think they'll be like blackout necessarily. They'll just be like full. Like there's going to be a lot more dot work. Maybe a few designs. There's a few spots I'll probably leave out. I've got some really, really thick calluses on my my hands here where I grip like pull-up bars and stuff. Before that, it was from cooking in kitchens for 20 years. I developed some pretty serious calluses on my hands. But I mean, as a tip of the hat to Terry's ability as a tattooer, I have terrible hands. I've got terrible skin on my hands. There's no two ways about it. I have, like, if I come in for a tattoo with you, a palm tattoo with you, it's probably your worst nightmare. I don't have good hand skin. And, well, it's not like I'm bragging about it, but there's nothing I can do about it necessarily either. I mean, I lotion every day. It is what it is. I don't know how good Terry could do on someone with better hands than me, though. So, like, if you were a young kid, walked in, never worked a day of manual labor in your life, I'm sure he could do just about anything he wanted on your palm. But you got to dot. Dotting is the way to go. He'd never done anyone's palms before mine, and I told him the way that I've heard to do it, and we figured it out. So, super happy with that little guy. And again, super happy with how these roses have come out. They're super bright this time. If anyone was doubting me, no, not to. If I tell you I'm going to do something in the future and it's going to go a certain way, I'm not saying I'm always right, but when it comes to tattoos, I've had enough experience now that people should just take my word for it, or at the very least not bet against me, because I always do this stuff. And if it doesn't work the first time, it damn sure does the second time or the third time. The real trick is being patient enough to figure out how to do it. Now, there was one other thing I was talking about before I cut this one off. I wanted to do white shading in between all of this. I'm still going to do that. It just was too much to do all in one session. So once everything's healed up, or 2 sessions even, once everything's all healed up in here, and Terry wanted to leave room for Rick because Rick's doing my chest, we're going to get in here, and in between all the black lines, we're going to shade white, and that should pop everything out even more. And there'll be almost no negative space left on my neck/throat. Because that's definitely the goal. There will be no dynamic black negative space left in the end. As I'm sure people have probably already figured out. I don't know how long this whole thing's going to take me. I don't really care. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And it's really interesting to see just how much we can do over a blackout. So if you guys have enjoyed this one, give me a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you again soon.